So thanks, guys. We're going to go ahead and get started. We have about 20 people signed up, so people might be trickling in. This is going to kick off our series, our Grid Investment Network 2022. It's on Tuesdays, 5:30. We're going to be talking about how to find and market deals. So we got two great guests, Lisa Hancock, which I've known for, or who I've known for a while, and she works directly with buyers. She's part of a wholesale team that does about 30 to 40 a month. So good to have her on the call. And then Jared Fosnot, who is with Washington Capital Partners, where you're going to find the funds to buy these off-market or market deals that you find. And also, Jared has connections with other wholesalers, and we'll be talking about his HQ deals, which launched. I guess you had a few ventures, but this one relaunched, I think, sometime last year. So I wanted to start off before going into wholesaling. The NAR statistic for last year just came out. So if we're talking about deals, where did the deals come from last year? 87%, so not 100%, buy houses through an agent or broker. 90%, and then on the flip end, where do people sell houses? Is on the market, right, through an agent or broker. Maybe some of them were off market, and then 7% just sold it on their own for sale by owner. And most of the time, if they did sell at FSBO, it was to a neighbor or someone like that, 50%. So I just wanted to open this up about finding deals. And I feel that the wholesale game is pretty good here in DC. I mean, we have some big wholesalers. I'm right now in California, just for travel. And there's really not, except for that guy, Tarek, there's not big wholesalers out here, but luckily we do have some. So I don't know if anybody want to chime in with a thought, but bottom line is most deals are on the market. So nothing wrong with getting a house that's listed on the MLS. So getting into wholesaling is basically the process of finding a good deal and putting it under contract and selling the rights to the contract to another investor. So read that pink line again. Process of finding a good deal. So it's got to be a good deal, bottom line. I can't stress it enough. You got to know the market, and that's why, Jad may or may not make money. Because you have to find a good deal. So if someone's selling it for 800,000 wholesale, doesn't mean it's a good deal. So what you have to find out, and what we'll talk about, and people will chime in, is a good ARV. It's gotta be below market. Someone once told me you're trading price for convenience. The less convenient it is to sell a house, you got tenants in there, you got asbestos, the roof is leaking. That's not convenient for a seller or for a buyer. So the price is going to have to go down. If the roof is perfectly fine, there's no tenants in there, it's staged and marketed, that basically means that it's easier and it's more convenient. So the price is going to go up. So just bear with me 5 minutes and I'm going to get into our guests. So the math is, you buy, and this is some background information. So you find out the ARV is $1 million. The rental cost is 200. How much do we solve? How much do we buy it for? How much do we wholesale it for? And how much do we charge? So if you back into it, the ARV, you might do 70% minus the renovation. So 70% of $1 million is 700,000, right? And then you minus the rental cost, which you get a contractor there. 200 grand is 500. So you should probably buy it for, let's say, 450 and assign a wholesale fee of 50,000. So that's what you could buy it for right off the spot, 450. It's tough. You got to really find obviously a seller that's motivated in a sticky situation to make 50,000. Short sales, issues equals money. Some of the questions people ask: do I need a real estate license? No, you don't need a real estate license to do this, and it's actually recommended that you don't. It is legal, so you're just assigning the rights to the contract. The legalities of it is that you're in earnest in buying the property and then trying to sell it to someone else. You get paid by making sure that you agree with the seller to buy it for less than what you're going to sell it for. Where do you find buyers? Good question. You create a buyer list. You go to networking events like this. How much money? So a lot of people want to know from MarketPro, and I was talking to Lisa, like, what's your magic? You know, you sell 40 houses a month, Lisa. How do you do it? Where do you find these freaking deals? And it starts with capital and reputation. I guess it's capital and reputation. Capital, you gotta spend money to make money. Mailers, commercials, flyers. You see them on the bus. I see them on my commercials. I see them everywhere. And then reputation. They have a great reputation, and they create smooth processes, and they make sure they deliver a good, at least vacant product. Yeah. So these are just some of the questions. I don't know if you had any more before I introduce our guests today.
I think you should do it.
All right, sounds good. So without further ado, keep those questions. We like to be interactive. Without further ado, I'm going to let Lisa Hancock from MarketPro take it from here. And I didn't update this slide, so it should probably be more like 600 homes per year.
No, I mean we're about 400.
Okay.
400. Just in the DMV. Of course, if you add in like the Philly area, then we're obviously going to be more, which is an area that we just started. So to everybody that doesn't know me, my name is Lisa Hancock, and I work for MarketPro Home Buyers. I have actually worked with them for a long time. Since 2012, I was their first employee. I can say that a lot of our success is that we started off flipping houses just like, 95% of my buyers. So we started off in 2012 with the two owners, and I was their first employee. And we bought our first property from the auction, and didn't go so well. We ended up finding that we actually had purchased the wrong house. We got stuck with tenants and the people in the house, and we inherited a ginormous water bill. So, we tried it. And then actually we ended up buying all of our properties back then through real estate agents. If an agent found us property, we fixed and flipped it, and we turned around and listed with that agent. So more than anything, I really understand and respect the relationship between me and agents and the buyer. And, I do a lot to protect and help build agents' business on the back end, if there's any agents that are also on this call. So obviously, we also flipped a lot of properties. We were the second largest on the East Coast. So we flipped over 300 houses. And but right around 2016, 17, there weren't any more houses to buy in the market. All those REOs and foreclosures and short sales and all those deals were pretty much gone. So we tried our hat at wholesaling, and we started off pretty small, but I really feel like I got thinking about what Nick said, that there's a lot that goes into it, and us having that fix and flip background. So anytime one of the acquisition guys was able to go into the house and look at the pictures, like we knew a renovation cost. We knew the area. Flipping 300 houses just in the DM, not even in Virginia. Back then, we were only in DC and Maryland. You know, a lot of times the comps that we were looking at were houses that we had flipped or we had flipped in the neighborhood. And as you can imagine now, 5 years later of wholesaling and 5 years of flipping, like almost every time I pull up a comp in a 1 mile radius, I've either sold or flipped a house in that area. It's a lot of houses. So, I mean, that's just how we kind of came about. You know, I have strong relationships with my buyers. I like to help them in every way. You know, I flip houses with my kids, myself, as a little part-time thing to teach them the business. And it's very second nature to me. And just the fact that it's second nature to me, I bring that along to my buyers. I mean, I've actually worked with somebody in 2017. It was their first house. They bought a small condo, and now they are doing apartment building in DC. So, you know, everybody comes a long way. And just like we're saying, like, there's always something to learn. And Jad was talking about PTSD of earlier, in case you didn't hear, about having some bad flips. And I think that every flip that you do is a learning experience, you know, just like every contract you get. So, I mean, that's the cool thing about real estate is it's never boring. There's basically no science. And I'm going to answer that 70% question that I saw pop up. You know, there's no science to comps. Like, you can do the best you can and say, look, this sold, and get the best ARV, which is where the agents come in, right? To help you really hone in on what the best thing to do to your flip. But, you know, real estate can sometimes be a little bit of a gamble. I did see that question that popped up about the 70% rule. I think, you know, it was that 70% was taught, it was taught a while ago. Now, I think for hard money deals, you know, we're trying to get like an 80% to the buyers. So it may work, you know, juggle your numbers a little bit. But it just depends. I mean, obviously, if you're going to wholesale a deal or if you're going to buy the house to flip, you want to get the best deal you can to make the most money that you can. So that's a quick intro on me and MarketPro. Yes, you know, selling 40 plus deals a month.
That's a lot of moving parts.
It is.
I think one of the cool things is that you have the front engine, and I know you work directly with the consumers, the people that buy the properties. But I think what it's cool is that you have all the back office support. Office meaning people calling, people advertising, and you're able to find those pieces of gold of people that are motivated, and motivated meaning that they want to sell but are in no position to put it on the market, right? All these properties, if they are market ready, then this isn't the best option, because wholesaling is about getting a discount. Discount means it's damaged goods. So I like that there's a reputable wholesaler that it's almost like, I wouldn't say Wikipedia, but you look it up and you look at the properties, and you could, if you're looking for a project, I think it's a good place to start. The second part is probably contacting a real estate agent like myself or Carlos to say, hey, you know, what are the comps? What would you suggest? I live in the area, or I don't live in the area. That's more important to get a real estate agent. But all the negotiation has already been done. You don't have to work with the seller. Imagine that. Thank God. Talk about PTSD. Talk you know, sellers with issues. It's very draining. So a lot of people make wholesaling sound like this new or this awesome experience. It's a lot of sweat equity. So why not take their sweat equity that they put into advertising and negotiating and take that and run with it and do what you're good at, which is, you know, solving a problem of getting the house on the market. And I think it's really easy. You have like this online submission portal. Even I've submitted an offer and Lisa goes, hey, you know, you got to make sure you submit these documents. So it's a very intuitive platform, and I could even pull it up here. Yeah, I think we have two questions. Where would you recommend a new wholesaler in DMV start? Lower cost areas, door knocking, is cheap, so it depends on the money. But I would probably start in Prince George's County or in counties that are more affordable, and ones that you know, and door knock. It's actually a really good time. People are home, and come up with like a letter. But I would start there. Bigger Pockets is a good online forum to look at how people have started wholesaling.
Hey, Nick, I know there's specific content that we're going to cover on the topic. I do hope that we can carve out some time on the side before we part ways, just to hear people, if they're willing, to get out there and predict where they think the market's going to go. Okay. I'm very, very curious personally. It's always something that the people enjoy. We could be wrong. None of us has a perfect crystal ball, but we all have opinions and beliefs. It'd be nice to hear what some of the folks in today's meeting think, in particular, like Lisa and Jared.
That's the side of the website for sellers that are looking to sell their properties. So obviously we have two websites, one that's, hey, are you looking to sell, for distressed sellers, and then the opposite is, my deal website, which is where I work with buyers. It's just marketprodeals.com.
Thanks.
You're welcome.
All right, marketprodeals.com, and I'll drop that in there. So I always like to come in here. All locations. Oh yeah, you could break it up by location. And if you get on this, if you register right here, you'll be put on their email and text alerts if you want to. So anything that comes on the market, you'll be notified immediately. But I mean, they have a lot of inventory. It's kind of crazy. This is not, you heard it from a friend of a friend that someone's selling a house, and if you want to buy it, just tell me, and I'll make the phone call. And it's kind of like a telephone where you have to find out. This is directly from the source. So I think that's another value add of a good wholesaler, is that they're direct. You go right on this website and it contacts a wholesaler, opposed to a Facebook group that you might see, or a friend that that is just a middleman, just trying to make money off of someone else that has the contract. So often a good question is, do you have the contract to assign? And if it's no, then you know that that person's not the wholesaler. They don't have the contract. But MarketPro has the contract for all these on their website.
Yes.
I'll post that there. So what are the terms if I was looking to buy on your website or buy a deal? What are the terms? Do I have to have money? Do you guys fix anything? Do you guys take lenders if I have a lender?
So pretty basic terms. The properties are purchased as is, so there's no contingencies. We sell to the final and best offer. I think that I've made it a little easy. We added an escalation clause, so that way it gives you that flexibility that you can come in a little low and you can, escalate it a little high just in case you want to, bump your deal up. And our EMD straight across the board, and that money will come out of your closing costs. It's $10,000. The sellers, there's a couple differences between purchasing a wholesale property really and kind of buying from off market. From a MLS deal, is that the sellers, obviously, like Jad was saying earlier, do not pay any closing costs. So buyers are responsible for closing costs both sides of the table. And here's kind of an explanation. So you'll want, if you're wondering why we do that. So when our acquisitions guy, you know, a lady calls and she makes an appointment, I'd like to sell my house. We go out, go to the property, and maybe their situation is, you know, I need to sell as soon as possible. The house is crumbling around me. I just need to get out. You know, I owe 140,000 and I really need 20,000 to start my new life, right? So we would in turn purchase the property for like 160, and you know, then add on our marketing fee and our assignment fee, and then we would put the deal out. So at that point, there's no way for us to say, okay, well, let me estimate your closing cost, or let me do something like that. So that's kind of why buyers do pay closing costs, both sides of the transaction, but it is something you need to factor into your offers when you're making offers. We use one title company. Like when you're closing 40 deals, not only are we just closing 40, but you know, we get a pipeline of deals. So sometimes we're closing 50 to 60 a month, and it's just too chaotic to use, you know, 50 different title companies. So we try and keep it as basic, as easy as possible, as transparent. It's just like, you know, I don't want to say silly, stupid, but you know, let's just make it easy and honest for everybody. Here's the deal. Here's what putting the deal out. I know I'm best here. It's usually a quick transaction, 24 to 48 hours. Put your best offer in. The contract's assigned. Your EMD would be due the following day, and that's it. Obviously, we cannot take any kind of conventional Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac loans, because you can't build an assignment fee into those loans legally. So cash deal, hard money. And I think that's, you know, where literally our right hand extension is Jared at WCP. We have done deals with them for 5 years. We started off like with them. I mean, talk about the meetups. I think that the owner met one of the employees from WCP at a meetup, and we came up with this, you know, website idea, and it's come a long way. So, you know, we're very happy with that relationship, and I think the two of us working together has been great. So I'm honored to be on here with Jared as well. But that's just a little bit about the process. You know, it's pretty easy. The website's easy, and the biggest key that I think is, like, that's fine. You put your offer, the offer is basic, the terms are basic. But the other thing that I think really helps is if somebody has questions, like I'll literally get on the phone and go picture by picture with the buyer, because, you know, I want them to do their best due diligence, or contact an agent, you know, so that agent can go over the pictures, go over the comps, really take a look. You know, you may think that your renovation budget or something is like 40,000. But when you really look at the comps, you realize you have to add another bedroom, and you need to put that bathroom in the basement to make that comp. So doing due diligence is, you know, is really the key to getting a good deal, and making sure that you're putting in a good offer that's reflective of you making money back. So
yeah, I think that's huge. Yeah, looking at the comps is huge, and equating the costs. I think last meetup we were talking about, like, you know, renovating the attic instead of the basement because it's included in the square footage. So something like that might change your numbers very quickly. So having an extra opinion of whether it's Lisa, you know, myself, Carlos, always happy to look at deals and look at the numbers to see if it makes sense for you to, you know, put this much effort in.
I do have one more thing. You know, I know that this is about wholesaling, and while the deals just come out and, oh, Lisa's putting out 5 deals today. Oh, here comes Lisa again with another deal. You know, we're talking about the troubles, and sometimes, in all honesty, you know, these sellers come with all kinds of situations, right? It's never like, oh, I just don't have time to list on the MLS. Like, you know, they have IRS liens, or they have people living in the house that they can't get rid of, and they just want to, they want to be free of it, or they inherit a property and they live in Texas and they just want to be able to walk away from the deal and not have to clean out the house and do all this stuff. And they don't know how to do probate. Like, our transaction coordinators will, walk them through the legal process of probate. Like, they get on a conference call with them on, okay, here's how to negotiate your IRS lien, or you can't take your cat. And this is a true story. Somebody was going to an elder care facility and they couldn't take their animal. And really, honest to God, our transaction coordinator found a house. Like, so it's so much bigger than it is great just finding a good deal. And then more importantly, is finding the best buyer that you can, that is going to do what they say and say what they mean, so that that seller gets to really close their house and walk away from that headache or nightmare or whatever that stress was. So it's, there's a lot that goes into it. It sometimes, like you said, it just looks like it's pretty easy, but it can be tough dealing with distressed sellers.
Yeah. Yeah, I totally respect you guys a lot. And we were here in California, and I checked out this house. My mother-in-law was like, oh, my friend's selling her house, but she's a bit of, collects stuff. Went in and literally we were so excited, we thought we could wholesale or buy it and flip it, and man, the walls were just falling in. It just was so much, and even me seeing like the worst of worst house, so overwhelmed. Just it takes a team, and it's called sweat equity for a reason. Really respect what you guys do.
Thank you.
I mean, this house smelled. I had to go home, take a shower. It was one of those, like, twice. And then even when you go to sleep, you can still smell it. But you used to go to the open houses more, so you really know what I was talking about.
Oh my goodness. I used to do an open house for every property. So
Yeah.
I've done hundreds of open houses, and some, I try to be respectful to the sellers, but some I just say, you know what, I'm just gonna stand out on the porch and I'll be in as soon as I can. It's some of the houses are really rough. Some of the houses, you only have a very small area to walk through. So, you get all kinds, and people are in all kinds of distressed situations, so we're happy to help them. I mean, really, it's a win for everybody.
One of the things that you said that, surprises me sometimes is that I can explain to somebody how I will, as their realtor, will do certain things for them, so that they won't have to worry about it, and get them like all this money that they might be missing out on, and they will just tell me, look, it's actually not that important to me. Like, what's more important to me is the peace of mind or getting it done quickly. And so people are facing pressures, and what's in their best interest, according to them, is not necessarily what I can offer, as a realtor. It's funny how that happens. But it's one of those things. I mean, you've done it long enough now, Lisa, where I'm sure it no longer shocks you. You truly understand humans. But for me, I still can think of a situation last year where it just blew my mind, that she wanted to sell to her neighbor, and I was thinking I was going to get her about maybe $250,000 more.
Wow.
Yeah, on Capitol Hill. She just wanted.
And you could have sold it to me, Carlos. Me.
I know, you know which one I'm talking about. It literally would have been a wonderful house.
Yeah, $250,000 I could have saved.
I let that slip. But I just wasn't like what she was speaking a language, and I couldn't hear it because that's not the language as a realtor, that I speak. But I'm sure that you would have recognized what was going on, Lisa, like this. But the conversations I have with people are not typically that along those lines. They're a little different. But you're managing to find people who want to have that conversation, and I think that's really special.
It's a hard, it's really hard right now, and people are faced actually with all kinds of situations, all different kinds of situations. And, at the end of the day, if it helps to ease their stress and this is what they want to do, it's my job as, dispositions is to just really find the absolute best buyer so that we get to close and that person can just walk away from the property or move in. A lot of people are moving in with family. They just want to let go of that house that's been a mess and they haven't been able to upkeep, and they're moving in with their kids. A lot of elderly people are doing that. So yeah, I mean, it's and it's a different world, and it's consistently revolving into new scenarios that we keep getting going through with COVID and stuff like that.
All right, so segueing, thank you, Lisa. Always appreciate you here. I did drop your phone number and website there. Highly recommend picking her brain if she's always very open to sharing, as this is a network. She's here to grow with us. So thank you, Lisa, again, for coming on, and look forward to hopefully seeing you in person one of these days.
I know. Well, thank you for having me. It was my honor.
All right, thanks, Lisa.